whatever you say is here. So don't swear.
So this is good. So we've got a nice little spine tilt here to start with, right? So what we're working on in this one is we're working on feeling like our weight, we're loading onto the back, the ball of this back foot on our backswing.
Okay.
And then we're going to push off on that, right?
Yep.
And then, when you first got here, if you look over here on this screen to the top right, see how when we first got here, it was your weight was going to the outside part of it,
Yes.
and your hips were sliding back.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start at the beginning. So first thing we did was, let me get rid of all these lines here because they're from the last swing. First thing we did was make this lower part of your spine more relaxed,
Okay.
right? Which I feel like was kind of the culprit that was starting this whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's much more relaxed. We talked about keeping the relationship between your rib cage and your pelvis as kind of an easier guideline than thinking about where your back is. Just something that we can feel a little bit easier.
Yeah.
That seemed to come super natural, easy to you.
Yeah.
That was very easy, and you did a great job with that. So now we're going to talk about our backswing here. I'm just going to draw a line in your hip. Actually, you know what? I'm going to draw one here. Draw one here. Draw one here. So what we talked about was the feeling, the swing thought of loading into our back foot onto the ball of that. Okay. So now we're going back. And as a result, now we've got an angle here, where before we had like a negative angle, and then we've got a nice angle there. Very, very stable position at the top. And if you look, we're going down. So this was a better one. Like this was like the one we started was good. This is a little bit better. I can tell you what I like better about it is we're pushing off a teeny bit earlier. Okay, right? So remember, the earlier in our backswing we push off from right to left, the more the club will drop down to the inside, and we'll hit a little drop, right? So that's going to be kind of the important part. By the way, your vertical forces aren't very high. I'm not a big fan of vertical forces. Like you look at that'd be somebody like Rory does that, which is great. Rory's amazing, but he also did that when he was 3. Okay, right? And that's just the way it goes. And if you I always look at very, very impressed. Like this is an amazing amount of torque, rotation you're getting, which is great. Just because you're getting that, by the way, doesn't mean you should take it for granted. I do think we should stretch a little, you know what I mean, just to kind of keep that up. But anyways, so now we're pushing off, and I like how that was a good one where we have maxed out our pressure here before we got to the top, which was ideal. So now that's this horizontal forces we're doing less of that, and now we're going to start rotating more, which is great. And now we're going to rotate less. Now we have to kind of put the brakes on, so we're doing some vertical in a nice impact position here, and that's producing a nice in-out path, right? And then if we're going to look at your top of your backswing here, see how this before was more into your trail, or I'm sorry, into your heel, in the heel, and now it's more into, it's still a teeny bit out to the outside of this, more so than I'd like. Sometimes, can I see your shoes? Yeah, it's not the shoes' fault. But if I was going to pick on you here, I'd like to see these two things switched, where the red's over here, on that, it is over there, but that's a small thing, and it actually could be partly because of the shoe. They're new, they're pretty, but nonetheless. And then we're doing a good job from there. You look at this trace on this top right hand corner, and this trace is doing a good job of going, into basically your toe of your front foot, and then into the heel, like it should. Right? So that part's great. So this is really good. So this would be an example of a very good swing. Off of a pretty And I'd say the two things is, you know, that you have to remember from this is the little more neutral setup here with your spine, and then loading into that back foot.
Okay.
And if I could throw something else, like, and just a beautiful position at the top of that club. I mean, you know, the club face is beautiful. I think you hit a lot of good shots at. And then those days where you're fading it, I feel like it'd probably just be not pushing quickly enough off that. You want to say quickly, early enough. Sorry.
Okay.
And if you hooking it,
Well, yeah, we can overdo it the other way. You know, where we could push off too early as well, and that'd be when you feel like you're dropping, like you're getting trapped or it's getting too far from the inside.
Okay.
That would just be. Okay, so hate to get too technical on you here, but we're on a roll, so what the heck? Okay, so before, if we can, if our vertical forces, I'm sorry, if our torque forces are too early in our swing, we're gonna be coming over it. Like if we get to the top and start doing this,
Okay.
right? It's more like we have to do this, like push off first, and then rotate.
Okay.
So this is better. This is a better spacing. Whereas before, you were basically doing your max vertical, your max torque at the top. Well, of course the club's going to come over it, right? So, anyways, so what you did here is you kind of moved this horizontal graph earlier in your backswing, because before when you were swaying, you couldn't start pushing off. I just like how these have a better space between your horizontal and your torque. So
very good.
This is a very good swing, and I feel like a pretty simple way to do it.
Okay.
All right, so let's do
Very
a few
good.
more, and we'll go from there.
Okay.